IBHA.
Hi everyone, I'm Jahnavi and I would like to introduce you to Dr. Juan Alvarez De Lorenzana. He's from Vancouver and a member of the International Big History Association. We would first like to know which country were you born in and when?
Yes, I was born in Spain, in Madrid, in 1942, so I'm 78 years old. And then later on in my life, younger, around 21, I went to live to Cuba and I stayed there for 10 years. And then after that, I met a Canadian person there, and we got married in Cuba, and we came to live in Vancouver. We have been living in Vancouver and sometimes in Spain because all my family is in Spain, and back and forth. But at least the last 20 years, we have been living in Vancouver all the time.
How have the countries you've lived in impacted your life as a big historian?
I went to a big history in a different path. It's because I lived in Cuba for 10 years. That was in 1960s. It was a time for Cuba. They were trying to develop the country as much and as fast as they could. And it turns out that many of these projects fail and fail miserably. And that's because technologies are also context dependent. And technology that is, come up from Sweden, it might not work in Cuba for many reasons, climate reasons, social dynamics, many other things. It was very hard to see how much effort they were putting in trying to develop the country and how little they managed to accomplish. And so I look at development wherever I could, not just in social science, but in biology. I study developmental psychologist named Jean Piaget. As I looked at more and more different fields where development was involved, I realized that there were certain dynamics in the process of development and evolution that they were the same, no matter where the field you were looking at. And that surprised me, and really, I thought it was amazing. I got very, very excited, I remember. And one of the people I read was Eric Chason, who is an astrophysicist. And I think in one of his papers mentioned big history. When I look at it, got very excited and say, how could I didn't know this? This is, and I felt that finally I reached my home, because before that I felt sort of an orphan, just trying to go on these things, but I had no audience or no people. I can talk and share these ideas. I can talk about these things with people in big history, and they understand perfectly well why one has to talk about this and deal with the whole range of what it exists. From 13.7 billion years ago to now and beyond. And I gave a talk with the same title that the paper that you saw. So that was my first connection, physical connection. I met all these people. And again, I felt just like I finally reached home. With big history, interdisciplinarity is the most obvious thing in the world. And interdisciplinarity usually has not worked very well. People like to have their own boundaries. Some people are adventurous enough and like to break those boundaries. Others feel very comfortable there and they don't want to have anything to do with anything else. But in big history, it's really a genuine place for interdisciplinarity in the most natural way, because the subject is all the fields that there are. And so I think in this interdisciplinarity, which is so important, it will be helped greatly by big history.
Thank you so much for your response. You can find more about Dr. Juan in the description below. Thanks for watching and do connect with us on social media.
IBHA.